6. So we are starting today with the crash course series. As we know, in TY BAF, there are total 6 courses. I mean to say 6 subjects the students are having. So today we have the crash course series of Cost Accounting 4. With us, we have a very knowledgeable resource person, Dr. Shruti Chavalkar. She has experience of 13 years in the teaching field. Ma'am has completed MPhil, NetSet, and she has been in the board of studies from since 3 years. She has been in the board of studies. She is also appointed as the PhD guide for commerce in Somaiya Vihar University. Ma'am has various research papers published in national and international conferences, which are recognized one. From 2009-10, she is a moderator and examiner to a various course papers, to name a few, such as SAPM, mutual funds, portfolio management, etc. She is working as a member of Board of Studies in Business Studies also from 2019-20 till date. So I am Assistant Professor Varsha Savlani. We get encouragement from our management, our principal sir, vice principal ma'am, those who are encouraging us to organize such webinars for the benefit of the students as they have the final exam. So without much wasting time, I request ma'am to start with the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Varsha ma'am. I sincerely appreciate the introduction did by you for me. Thanks for your kind words. And I really appreciate S.S.T. College and the management of this college and the entire team of teaching, non-teaching staff for taking an initiative in starting such activities for our students, which are very helpful for our students for appearing for the examination. Thank you once again for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Now, as ma'am briefed right now about today's session. Today's session is based on how to solve MCQs based on cost accounting semester 4. Cost accounting 4 semester 6. Okay, so let me before starting this session, let me share with you my PPT. 1 minute, just a minute.
As we know, in Cost Accounting 4, there are the 4 modules, such as budgeting and budgetary control, absorption costing and marginal costing, cost, volume, and profit analysis. The 3rd unit is managerial decision making, and the 4th unit is standard costing and variance analysis. So, ma'am will brief it out the entire 4 modules.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Varsha ma'am. Before starting all 4 units, let me tell you one thumb rule of this, how to solve MCQs based on cost accounting subjects. First of all, it is required that students should read material or whatever chapters they wanted to start, or notes properly given by your teachers. So I request all of students start MCQs one by one, means unit wise. Take 1 unit and read the material, whatever you have. Read that chapter, read those notes given by your teacher. Then get the clarity in the concept of those topics. Till you are not understanding, read it again and again. Try to clear your concepts. This is very important. If your reading is done, if your concept clarity is done, then it will be help you out to solve any number of MCQs and of any kind of MCQs. So these are 2 major steps you have to follow, which will be helpful for you. And then take one set of questions of MCQs based on that chapter and start marking the answers with the help of pencil. And then cross verify these answers with the whatever solutions are given to you. Now the most of the publications have started giving the MCQs with the solution after every chapter. So this will be helpful for you. just don't start reading directly the MCQs and mugging those answers. First, read the material, get the clarity in your concepts, and then try to solve the MCQs based on this material, and then cross verify whether your answers are correct or not. This procedure you have to follow, which will give you the confidence in your how to solve the MCQs based on these topics. So reading and practice, reading and practice, reading and practice is must for you. Not only that, in cost accounting subject, there are practical problems also. So it is required that you have to solve those problems also, because in this MCQ sometimes they may ask you numerical kind of questions also, and for that practice is required. So these are the rules which you have to follow if you really wanted to score in that. Okay. So just don't start with directly the questions based on your chapter. First read the chapter and then go for the question solution. Now here today, first I will take your first unit. As you know that your first unit is based on budgetary and budgetary control, in which these topics are there. First one, try to understand the meaning. Here there are three concepts basically: budget, budgeting, and budgetary control. Try to understand what is exact meaning of these three concepts. These are not similar. They are there some differences there between all these three. So try to understand what exactly their characteristics. Then try to understand the advantages and limitations of budget, and then different types of budget. As I told you, there are three concepts in this unit. First one is budget. Now, what is the budget? Budget is nothing but the quantitative plan for your which you are planning for the future. Mostly the period is for 1 year, and this planning is totally based on the past data. So you should have the past data with you, on which only you can prepare the numerical data for your next year. That is called as budget, and this is always in monetary terms. Here you are presenting only and only quantitative data and no other qualitative data you are presenting in your budget. That is the main characteristics of budget. So it is nothing but the quantitative plan for your future, which you are preparing on the basis of past data. Now budgeting, this once you know the budget, we will see what is budgeting. Budgeting is nothing but the process of how to design your budget, how to implement your budget, how to operate your budget. These all decisions you are taking in this process, and that's why entire process is called as budgeting. Now, why this budget is important, or what are the objectives of budgeting? So first of all, try to understand that budgeting is required because it is helping you to complete your or to achieve your specific goals. So that's why budgeting is required. It is helping you to coordinate your resources to achieve your goal, and that's why budget is required. And that's why these all objectives you should aware about why the budgeting is required, or what is the importance of budgeting. It helps to planning to establish your specific goals. It helps to execute your plan in how to achieve your goals. It is helping you to compare with the actual result of whatever goals you achieved, and it is helping you to coordinate your all activities which are required to fulfill your goals. So these are the objectives why budgeting is important. Then next one is how budgeting is helpful for you. First of all, it is helping you to maximize your profit, and that's why most of the companies are trying to prepare the budgets, and this entire budgeting process, and that entire process is called as budgeting. Then it helps you to improve your efficiency. It helps you to improve your staff efficiency. Time to time you are evaluating their performances, and that's why it is important. So these are the benefits of budgeting, and it is helping you to take some actions also. If you are finding that you are not able to achieve your targets, then you can take the corrective actions to achieve your target. And that's why it is helpful for you to reduce your cost also time to time. If you are keeping proper watch on your budget, it will help you out to reduce your cost time to time. So these are the benefits of budgeting. And still there are some loopholes also in budgeting. There are some limitations of budgeting which are also called as disadvantages of budgeting. For example, for small enterprises, budgeting is not possible because they have so many limitations, like manpower is not, they don't have good manpower, they don't have expertise people also who can prepare the budget for them. So many factors are there. So sometimes it is not possible for small scale industries to prepare the budget for their businesses. It is time consuming also, it is costlier also compared to other work. So sometimes you have to appoint some person who can understand this procedure, who can prepare a budget properly for you. And here you require, the company is required lot of, means your staff is also required lot of efforts to be taken, because in most of the time you have to take the, always you have to take the data of past years, for which huge efforts are required. You have to coordinate with different departments time to time. You have to get small things, data from them, so that your budget would be perfect, and which will help you to guide in future what is exactly you are supposed to achieve, with what limitations and with what resources are available to you. And that's why it is required lot of efforts for preparing these budgets. So encourage, it also helps to encourage the excessive spending also, and that's why these are the limitations of budgeting. So I hope you understood the difference between budget and budgeting. Budget is nothing but the numerical plan which you are preparing on the basis of past data for the future, but budgeting is nothing but the entire procedure of how to design, how to implement, how to operate this budget in future. And then we will see budgetary control. Now budgetary control is different from these two, where you are comparing continuously the data of your budget time to time, and if any actions are required, you are making you are taking those actions. You are revising your budget also time to time. If you found that something is not able to achieve, then you are fixing, you are making the fixation of responsibilities also, if you find some failure in your achieving the target. So budgetary control is another concept. So these three concepts you should understand, and this is nothing but the management control system. So budgetary control is nothing but whatever you have planned, check it out whether it is going in the proper manner or not. So budgetary control is another concept. Once these three concepts are clear in your mind, we will see different kinds of budgets. There are different types of budgets. For your syllabus, you have fixed budget and flexible budget. You have functional budgets. Then you have, I think, zero budget also. We will see one by one. Exactly difference between fixed budget and flexible budget is that once the fixed budget is prepared, there is no scope to change it again according to the level of activity, and that's why it is called as fixed budget, which is also static in nature, and this is rigid in nature. Sometimes in the MCQs they may ask you that the question dash dash budget is static in nature. You should know the answer that no, fixed budget is static in nature. So whatever the options are given to you, you should be firm with your answer. That is, this way, if your concepts are clear, then it will be helpful for you to give the right answer within short period of time. So fixed budget is the budget which is static in nature, which is rigid in nature, and once it is prepared, you are not able to change it time to time for the different level of activities. And mostly this budget is helpful for short period of time. It is not helpful for longer period of time. Then next one is flexible budget, whereas compared to fixed budget, flexible budget is practical oriented, which is realistic in nature, and here you have the flexibility to change the budget according to the different level of your activity. For 75% level, you can prepare different budget. For 80%, you can prepare different budget. For 60%, you can prepare different budget. That way, you can prepare separate different budgets for different level of your activity, and that's why it is more realistic and more practicable. Here you are making the proper segregation in semi, say, variable and fixed expenditure, semi-variable and variable expenditure. So that way it is very helpful for you, which is very flexible in nature, and that's why this budget is quite different from fixed budget. So these two concepts should be clear in your mind. What is exactly the meaning of fixed budget and what is exactly the meaning of flexible budget? You should be thorough with the characteristics of different budgets. Then next one is functional budget. Here the businessman is preparing budgets for different functions which they are doing. For example, for sales department, they are preparing separate budget which is called as sales budget. For purchase department, they are preparing different budget which is called as purchase budget. For production, they are preparing different budget which is called production budget. According to their requirements, they are preparing different budgets for different functions. And cash budget, for cash inflow outflow, they can prepare the cash budget. So this functional various functional budgets, when you are clubbing or collaborating together, that will be called as master budget. So functional budget is different compared from fixed and flexible budget. Then next budget is zero based budget. Here you are starting from the scratch, from zero, and that's why this budget is called as zero based budget. This budget is also known as activity based budget, because here for every activity you are preparing different budget. Here you are not taking into consideration historical data, you are not taking into consideration past data. This main characteristics you should aware about it, right? So zero based means starting से करते हैं, scratch से करते हैं. That's why it is called as zero based budget. Most of the times students are not aware, अरे ZBB, what is the meaning of that? But this is very simple budget which is where you are starting from scratches, you are starting from zero. Here you are not taking into consideration historical data for your calculation purpose. Then next budget is called as performance budget, which is also known as evaluation. Here you are preparing evaluating the performances of your enterprises time to time, and you are checking the relationship between what input has given by the company and what output you are receiving for that. So continuous appraisal of performances is done in the performance budget. So these are the main 5 types of budgets are there for your syllabus, which you should for this 5 different types of budgets, you should know what are their main characteristics first of all. And then it is required that you have to solve the practical problems also, whatever are there in this chapter. The main MCQs would be on definition of budget, budgeting and budgetary control. That's why I briefed you what is the exact meaning of these 3 concepts. And then you should have the knowledge about what are the main characteristics of different budgets which are there in your syllabus. As I told you, fixed, flexible, functional, then zero based and performance budget. This all you should know thoroughly what are their main features, so that there would not be any confusion while solving the MCQs based on these 5 budgets. And then it is required that you should have the knowledge of how to solve the numerical problems also. So this is the first unit from my side. Then moving towards second unit, that is absorption costing, marginal costing, cost volume and profit analysis. And before starting this unit, I would like to tell you that this unit is very, very important, because unit 3 is also based on this unit. So unit 3 is nothing but the extension of this second unit, where also contribution would be there, BEP would be there. So that kind of calculations are also there, which are nothing but there in your unit 2. So unit 2, if you are understanding properly, then only you can solve the MCQs based on unit 3 also. So unit 2 is very, very important for you. In this, the syllabus, according to your syllabus, these topics are there. What is absorption costing, marginal costing, meaning is important, their characteristics you should aware about it, what are their main characteristics, their main features you should aware about it. Read the definition always, whatever is given in your book or in your chapters. What are the basic distinction between these 2, that is also important. and read and go through with the whatever the advantages and limitations are given to you for marginal costing. After that, we will see cost, volume, and profit analysis. First, I will see absorption costing. Absorption costing is nothing but the full cost sheet. Here, you are taking into consideration all costs, whether they are fixed or flexible, or whether they are variable, whatever. You are taking all cost as production cost. Here, you are not segregating them on the basis of fixed and flexible, fixed and variable expenditure. Here, all costs are taken into consideration as production cost. Whereas in marginal cost, you are taking only and only variable cost as production cost, and fixed cost, even though you are taking it for the calculation purpose, but fixed cost you are considering as period cost in marginal costing. So in absorption costing is nothing but the cost sheet, if where indirect fixed costs are allocated and absorbed by the product made. This cost sheet, this costing is also called as full costing, because all cost you are taking into consideration. And here this part, this formula, how you are calculating cost per unit, you are calculating cost per unit by total cost you are taking into consideration divided by number of units produced. This way you can find out cost per unit for that particular product. Here this formula, that is opening stock plus production minus closing stock, is sales. This is the basic formula that students should aware about it. If you are thorough with this formula, from this formula you can find out other here you can see that in this formula there are 4 elements: opening stock, production, closing stock, and sales. Sometimes in the MCQs they may give you the amount of opening stock, closing stock, sales amount, and they may ask what is production amount. So if this formula is you are aware about this formula, you can utilize this formula to find out what is the amount of production. So mind this formula properly, and on this formula you can find out 4 elements. Whatever the amount of other elements are given, just replace them in their in this formula and solve the equation. You will get the amount of opening stock. Sometimes they may give you the they can ask you the question of what is the production cost amount, so you can find out that one also. They can ask you the amount of closing stock in the question. Sometimes they may ask you the amount of sales by giving the other elements to you. So this formula is important, which will be helpful for you to get these elements by solving this equation. This formula you can utilize for amount calculation also, for getting the quantity or for getting the units also. Now in absorption costing, as I told you, absorption costing is nothing but the cost sheet. In this cost sheet, please take into consideration that there are main 6 components. First component is prime cost, which is also called as direct cost, where all direct material, direct labor, direct expenditure you are taking into consideration. Once you got direct cost or prime cost, in that figure, if you are adding the factory overheads, you will get works cost, which is also known as factory cost, which is also known as production cost, which is also known as manufacturing cost. Why I am telling all these names to you? Because sometimes in the question production cost is asked, and students are not aware that production cost is nothing but the works cost. So these all names you should aware. You should know all these names properly, that production cost is nothing but the works cost is nothing but the factory cost, works cost, and they are also known as manufacturing cost also. So these all other names you should aware. Then once you got the works cost, if you are adding office overheads in that, you will get cost of production. Once you got the cost of production, if you are adding opening stock of finished goods and subtracting closing stock of finished goods from this cost of production, you will get the amount of cost of goods sold. That is your 4th component. And then after getting the 4th component, if you are adding selling overheads in that, you will get cost of sales, which is also known as total cost. So this is the 5th component of your cost sheet. And the last component, that is sales, you can get by adding your profit in your cost of sales. So these 6 components are very, very important. You should know this format properly, so that cost sheet format, if you have done thoroughly, you can give the answers of these questions also. Some examples I have given over here. For example, cost of production plus dash 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 is equal to cost of goods. In options given to you, factory overheads, office overheads, and selling overheads. So your answer would be office overheads. So if you are thorough with the format, you can give these answers properly, confidently. Then next question is, cost of production is equal to dash 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 plus factory overheads. The options given to you: direct cost, prime cost, factory cost, works cost. Your answer, work cost is also factory cost, direct cost, prime cost, factory cost, and office overheads. Your answer should be factory cost. So you should be confident with your answer. So this way I have given some examples over here. Works cost is equal to dash 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 plus prime cost. Your answer will be factory overheads. Variable cost is also known as product cost, because here variable cost is called as product cost. Then cost of rectification is nothing but the part of dash dash dash. Always remember, cost of rectification is the part of factory cost. Then sales is equal to dash 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 plus profit. Sales is equal to total cost plus profit. Stock of WIP is adjusted with dash dash dash. Always stock of WIP is adjusted with factory overheads. Okay, then the last one, cost of sales is equal to cost of production plus dash dash dash. The options is given to you: selling overheads, office overheads, administration overheads, and factory overheads. Your answer would be selling overheads. So that's why this format is very, very important for you. You should be thorough with this, so that you can solve any kind of equations asked to you in MCQs confidently. Then next one is marginal costing. As I told you earlier, marginal costing is totally based on variable cost. Here, this costing is also known as direct costing, because marginal costing is known as direct costing, as only marginal and only direct cost they are taking into consideration, and that's why it is called as direct costing. In this, there is proper allocation or segregation of between the fixed expenditure and the variable expenditure. Whatever variable expenditures are there, they are taken into consideration, and fixed expenditure they are showing separately, which is not done in cost sheet or in absorption costing. There the segregation is done as factory overheads, selling overheads, office overheads. That way the segregation is done in cost sheet. This is the distinction given to you. Suppose here absorption costing, where all manufacturing costing costs are taken into consideration and they all are treated as cost of production. Whereas in marginal costing, only and only direct costs are taken into consideration and they are considered as production cost. So here only variable cost is taken into consideration as production cost. Compared to marginal costing, product cost and inventory cost is higher in absorption costing, and there is in absorption costing there is no distinguish between fixed and variable cost, whereas in marginal costing this distinction is important, which are the fixed expenditure and which are the variable expenditure, that way. So segregation is very, very important in marginal costing. In absorption costing, we are preparing the cost sheet to find out the profit, whereas in marginal costing we are preparing the marginal cost sheet to find out contribution. Absorption costing is also known as full costing, traditional costing, whereas marginal costing is known as direct costing, variable costing, and incremental costing also. See, these words are important. You should aware about all these terms. Okay. Advantages of marginal costing: it is helping you to take the decisions which are related to your business, and it is more realistic profit you can find out with the help of this marginal costing. It is helping you to take more control on expenditure and production cost, and it is short-term profit planning, easy to calculate also. Whereas the limitations of the marginal costing, that sometimes it is very difficult to segregate which are the fixed cost and which are the variable cost. In that case, it is not useful for you. It is depending on key factors also. So that way it has the limitations. Now in this unit, next and very important part is that cost, volume and profit analysis, that is also known as CVP. In this, first a cost sheet format, that is sales minus variable cost is equal to contribution minus fixed cost is equal to profit. This basic marginal cost sheet you should know properly, because on that basis so many different small formulas can be done. For example, contribution is equal to sales minus variable cost. Contribution is equal to profit plus fixed expenditure. Fixed expenditure minus loss is equal to contribution. Sales into profit volume is also equal to contribution. So this, in this chapter, you have to be thorough with all the formulas. Don't skip the formulas. Sometimes they may ask formulas directly. Sometimes some answer is given to you and you have to find out the other elements. In that case, you should be thorough with the formulas. PV ratio. Most of the students knows about the PV ratio is nothing but the contribution divided by sales. But students should have the knowledge about the another formulas of PV ratio. That is, PV ratio is nothing but change in profit divided by change in sales. Some problems are also there in your chapter. They are giving the 2 periods profit as well as sales, and how to calculate PV ratio in that case. You should aware about it. BEP in rupees. For BEP in rupees, the formula is different, and for BEP in units, the formula is different. Fixed in expenditure divided by PV ratio, that is for BEP in rupees. And to find out the BEP in units, the formula again would be fixed expenditure, but divided by contribution per unit. So that you should aware about it. And BEP is nothing but no profit, no loss. That is break-even analysis point. Then after that, MOS. MO is nothing but the margin of safety, that is actual sales minus BP. If you calculating BP properly, you will get MOS also properly. Here again, only sometimes students are learning only one formula, but see the other formulas also. MOS is equal to profit divided by PV ratio. Sometimes they may give different choices to you in which the actual sales minus BP sales is not given to you, but the option is given profit divided by PV ratio. That is nothing but the MOS. And that's why I'm requesting all of you to go through all the formulas given in your book for this chapter. Then BEP break-even chart, which is also given in your syllabus. Break-even chart is nothing but giving you the exactly by graphical presentation how you can get the profit and losses. Here, there would be the chances that they can ask you the question, decrease in variable cost, dash, dash, dash. BEP is decreasing or increasing or constant. Give the answer. So your answer would be decreasing. So there is a direct relationship between variable cost and BEP. And not only that, there is a direct relation between fixed cost and BEP. So that direct relation you have to take into consideration, and accordingly you can give the answer. So this chart is also important. And in this chapter, this kind of questions would be there. If something is increasing, what will be the impact on the another variable? If we are decreasing this one, what will be the impact on the another variable? This kind of questions are asked in this on this unit. Then angle of incidence, angle which is given over here. See, this is the angle of incidence, which is nothing but the formed with the help of total cost and sales cost. So the angle which is coming between these lines, between these two lines, is called as angle of incidence. If it is wider, your profit is more. If it is smaller, your profit would be less. So that is nothing but the angle of incidence. This concept also you should aware about it. So after completing second unit, third unit would be managerial decision making, which is totally depending, as I told you earlier, that your second unit is important, because on that your third unit is also depending. In this third unit, tricky questions can be asked. Mostly numerical questions can be asked in the third unit, and main questions are generally they are asking on make or buy decisions and key factor. See, key factor is also known as scarce factor, then limiting factor, critical factor, or principal factor. These are the another words for key factor. So you should aware about it, that key factor is nothing but limiting factor also. Then in this kind of calculation, contribution per unit is important. For key factor, contribution per key factor you have to calculate. So first calculate the contribution per unit, and then whatever is the key factor, find out the contribution per that key factor. Sometimes in the problem, machine hours is key factor, then man hours, labor hours are key factors. So whatever is a condition given to you, according to that your answer should be get changed. So in this particular chapter, make or buy decisions, as the unit is heading is saying that managerial decision making. Here, with the help of marginal costing, managers are like to take the decisions regarding whether to buy or make any product or not, which one will be beneficial for them. Sometimes they wanted to take the decision on the key factor, whether which which is their limiting factor, and on the if they wanted to produce something with the help of this key factor, what will be the impact on their profit. Sometimes the managers are wanted to take the decisions on with for their sales mixture. For example, sometimes in the you are using A, B, C, D, 4 components in your selling in your mixture. Then which one is profitable for them, whether A, B, C, D, all you wanted to go for same equal level, or there should be some changes in their combination. So that sales mix decisions should be taken by the managers time to time to get more profit. So for this kind of thing, decisions they can take with the help of marginal costing. Sometimes they are getting good offers from the customers. In that case also, they have to calculate marginal costing. With the help of marginal costing, they can find out whether accepting any order, even though it is export order or whatever, is it beneficial for them or not. And then sometimes they have to take the decisions on whether to continue with the plant or to shut down that plant. In that case also, marginal costing is helpful for them. So practical problems would be there on this unit. Then the last unit, that is standard costing and variance costing. Here this unit is having so many formulas, so you have to be thorough with this all formulas. Basically material cost variance, labor cost variance, variable or overhead variances, sales variances are there. See, in this, if you are thorough with the formula, you can give the answer for any this thing. For material, it is nothing but the material cost variance is standard cost minus actual cost, and material price variance is nothing but standard price minus actual price multiplied by actual quantity. Then next one is material uses, which is nothing but the total of mix variance and yield variance also. So that way you can cross verify whether your answers are coming properly or not. So material uses is nothing but SQ minus AQ into SP, and material mix variance and material yield variance is possible only when the more than 2 components would be there, products would be there. So revised quantity minus actual quantity multiplied by sales price, you can find out mix variance. And in case of material yield, you can find out standard quantity minus revised quantity multiplied by sales price. Same formula would be there for labor, but instead of quantity, we will take into consideration hours, and instead of price, we will take into consideration rates. So labor cost variance is nothing but standard cost minus actual cost. And labor rate variance is similar to price variance of material, but the formula is standard rate minus actual rate into actual hours. Labor efficiency is nothing but standard hours minus actual hours into standard rate. Then labor mix variance is nothing but revised hours minus actual hours into standard rate, whereas labor yield variance is standard hours minus revised hours into standard rate. So this way different formulas are there for step by step do the all the formulas for material, for labor, for overheads, and then opposite they are having similar kind of structure, but for sales the formulas are totally different because sales is income, and that's why whatever favorable is there you will get unfavorable over here. So here you are not deducting standard, means you are not deducting actual from standard, but you are deducting standard from actual. So that way find out if your answer is positive it will be favorable, if your answer is negative it will be unfavorable. So these are the formulas for sales value variance. ASP, that is actual sales price into actual cost, actual quantity minus budgeted sales price into budgeted quantity. Then sales price ASP minus BSP into actual quantity. Sales volume, actual quantity minus budgeted quantity into BSP, and sales mix variance, that is actual quantity minus revised sales quantity into BSP, and sales quantity variance is RSQ minus BQ into BSP. So these formulas you have to go through properly and you have to solve the problems based on it. So that way it will be helpful for you to solve all kind of problems, and try to solve the numerical problems also, which are beneficial for you to clear your concepts time to time. So I hope the hello. So these are from my side. It's some inputs I tried to give from my side. I would like to wish all the best to all our students. Do very well, read your material and read it properly, and specifically for MCQs. Read the question properly. Most of the time students are in a hurry, they are panic and they are not reading the question properly, and in a hurry they are giving wrong answers. So don't do that. Read your problem carefully and then only give the answer. So that we have to follow. And as I told you at the initial stage, that reading the material is important. First read your material and then start solving the problems, instead of reading directly the MCQs and then mugging all the answers of those questions. Don't follow that for procedure, which is not helpful. You may get good you may get marks, but not this kind of procedure will not help you out to get good marks. So if you really wanted to score higher, you have to read your material, whatever material is available with you, from whatever publications books are available to you. Try to read the material and then solve the MCQs. Get confidence so that you can solve any kind of MCQs, any number of MCQs confidently. That confidence you should earn by reading the material. Only reading will help you out, and not only reading, because in costing you have the practical based problems also. So numerical problems also you have to solve. Hello Varsha ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, there are a few questions from the students, like does they have to remember the formulas also? Will they come in the MCQs form?
See, formulas are important, as I told you earlier also, because formulas are helping you to clear your concepts. So just mugging the formulas will not be helpful for you. Try to understand those formulas from which you have to deduct what and why you are deducting that. And that's why at the initial stage I told to all of you that concept clarity is important. For example, here, 1 minute, I will 1 minute just here the marginal cost sheet is there. The formula is Sales minus variable cost is equal to contribution minus fixed cost, you will get profit. This is important because if you know this basic formula properly, you can give the answer. Sometimes in the MCQs, they may give you variable cost amount, they may give you contribution, and they will ask what is sales. If you are not thorough with the formula, you are not able to find out those answers. And that's why formula is important. Formula is must to understand. First understand, then only mind them.
Means small sums also it may come in the exam.
Yeah, any
What
kind
are-
of numerical problems they are asking in the exam. And in MCQs type questions, it is not possible to ask big questions, but some part they can ask. For example, here I can ask you a question. If it is given, variable cost is rupees 5,000, contribution is 6,000. What is sales amount? So your answer will be 11,000. 5,000 plus 6,000 means ulta jange बाद 11,000 minus 5,000. Your answer would be 6,000. That is contribution given to you. So this way, the different kind of combination can be done by them, and they can ask you question based on that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You have covered in a very short span of time the entire modules.
Thank you.
So what is exactly the budget, budgeting, budgetary? Then, as you said, the second unit is much more important. It is connected with the third unit, that is manage absorption costing and marginal costing. And you have well explained the difference between the two. And the third unit, which is managerial decision making, is nothing but whether the plan A or plan B is accepted is based on that only. And the last topic, as you said, there are certain formulas and concepts, that is standard costing and variance analysis. So well covered in a short span of time. It will surely help to the students to appear for this MCQ based, and for sure they'll start their studies. Already they have started, but as in the format of MCQs, they'll come to know what sort of key concepts they need to understand while doing the study. So I would like to thank our management also, founder principal Dr. J.C. Purswani sir, who always encourages us to conduct such live webinars for the benefit of the students. And I would like to thank our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Khushbu Purswani, and other my colleagues, those who are helping us to conduct this live session successfully. And ma'am has accepted our invitation second time in our department. Thank you so much. Thanks to the students. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for inviting me once again. I hope I did my best in this short period of time. All the best to all of you students. Do well and read the material and then give your answers confidently. All the best to all of you. Thanks to all of you.
Stop sharing screen.